Well, we've had 2 days exciting professional development, parent meetings, student assemblies. Students were super enthused about them. It was nice to hear through the parent meetings the following night how the same concepts were carried through, and parents were sharing that their students were even teaching them growth mindset. And we had wonderful conversations around professional development and how can we as a staff support students around the growth mindset, and what are some of the changes, or what are some of the ways we can adapt as educators to help the students. I would say we got our bang for the buck. This was amazing. We can't thank Blake enough, because I feel like each one of them brought a new aspect, and they still talked about the same concepts. And it was nice for us to have our students, our staff, and our parents on the same page in creating a new growth mindset culture at our school.
We just finished 2 performances with Dr. Blake Brandis. What I enjoy the most about it is my teacher responses, because typically when we do assemblies, you always worry about teachers saying you're taking time away from my classroom, this isn't as important as what we're doing in class. And when they were coming out of the assemblies, I heard the exact opposite. Teachers were talking about how amazing it was, that he was wonderful, the kids were engaged, they asked when he was coming back again, and so that really tells me that it was worth their time and effort. The thing that I enjoyed being in the assembly were the kids' reactions. He does a great job of getting them back on task by saying fun things for them to repeat, which they do, and then they're right back in it. He has a wonderful message about growth mindset and grit, and I would definitely recommend having him at your school as well.
We just had an assembly with Dr. Blake Brandis, and from one principal to another, I highly encourage you to consider bringing him into your school. He talked about the growth mindset with our students, and as principals, we are on a very limited budget, and we're always looking for ways to spend our money, but you're not spending money when you get Dr. Blake in your building. You're investing your money in Dr. Blake, because he's helping our students with our vision of a growth mindset. And it was a wonderful assembly, and I am bringing him back next year, earlier in the year, so that we can get this mindset going from September throughout the end of the year. So I highly encourage you to bring him in. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. I'd be happy to answer any of your questions.
The assembly was fantastic. The kids were engaged, they enjoyed it, they laughed, they cheered, they got to beatbox with Boots and Cats, and so it was just amazing. Not only did they have fun, they learned, it reinforced what the teachers and staff have been teaching these kids, and it was just fun for all, and I know the staff was just as excited as the kids, for sure. I had a lot of teachers stop me after the assembly just to say how amazing it was. We're doing a lot of AVID here at school, and growth mindset and power of positive thinking, so the fact that it tied into what we've been having these kids do for a couple of years definitely geared it towards what we want, and it just brought it in a fun, different atmosphere and a platform, and the kids just absolutely engaged and had a blast, and the staff were thrilled that it was somebody other than us bring that message to them, so it was a blast for everyone. I'm already going to be calling all the other counselors and telling them they need to book this. It was fun, it was engaging, along the lines of the message we're trying to get our kids to hear, and easy process. Blake was fantastic to work with, Ivy was awesome, so the whole process was a breeze, and it was a joy to have you guys, and we would have them again every year if we could.
I just wanted to give Blake a shout out and a thanks for today's message. We were so impressed with his beatboxing and rapping, and just his general message of growth mindset. As educators who aren't as hip and cool, talking about kids trying to get that idea of not yet and soon to be, and you can do this, and eventually, Blake did a great job of just letting the kids know that not yet is something that they can connect with, because he told his own story about that, and yet he was a professional beatboxer and rapper up in front of our students. So it was a lot of energy. Kids were really excited at the end of the show. A lot of kids came up to thank him and said that they were encouraged to continue on with some of the things that they like to do. So you won't be disappointed. Great show.
And Blake's assembly is the best that I've seen as far as any assembly goes, in that Blake gets the kids excited about hearing his message, and then he's able to calm them down and maintains control of the whole assembly and all the kids, and brings them along on this amazing fun journey where they learn a ton, have a great time, and feel good about themselves at the end.
We just experienced Blake Brandis, and loved the message, and loved the rapping, loved the beatboxing, and I, as the building principal, I always, whenever we have an assembly, I look around at faces, and I'm looking at the kids, and I'm looking at the teachers, and I'm seeing the heads bopping, and I see the big smiles on the faces. What I loved about what Blake did for us today is that he broke it down into chunks. So we had a K2 assembly, and the content and the timing was perfect for those kids. Then we brought in our 3rd, 4th, and 5th grades, those upper L kids, and he was able to extend that content, build on what he talked about in the first assembly, and he hooked the kids right from the very beginning of the assembly, and he carried that through, and he had them in the palm of his hands for the entire assembly. And kids are going to be talking about this. I can't wait. Lunches are going to start rolling here in a few minutes. The kids are going to be talking about this for the next several days. And now that we have blakespeaks.com to look at, we're going to definitely check out those tunes. And I'm going to be hearing the kids. We're going to hear a lot of beatboxing and a lot of rapping for the next while. But what I really hope is that his message on grit and that growth mindset stick with the kids, and we can reference this in the next several weeks throughout the year and even into next year to just say, hey, remember when Blake was here? Remember the challenges that he went through and the growth that he had, and obviously he was able to demonstrate that for us in a real tangible way. So highly recommend Blake Brandis. It was awesome.